Welcome to Litt on Sunday, and my name is Litt. On this program this week and every week, we bring you headline news affecting the Asian community and to take a deeper look at some of the most important stories affecting the Asian community. In today's program, we'll be looking at the increasing number of sham marriages to beat the immigration laws, and a little later, we'll look at the defamation of Indian food by Bangladeshi curry houses. But first, let's go to Jessie for the news headlines.
Good morning and thank you for joining me. The British High Commission has denied it is discriminating against Pakistanis or putting them in danger. A memorandum of understanding was signed last week, allowing the UK to fast-track up to 120 failed or trafficked asylum seekers back to the country every month. Immigration lawyers said it paves the way for people to be deported before their appeals can be heard. But the Islamabad High Commission says a similar agreement has been in place for 5 years already, and they must crack down on all illegal immigrants equally. Police are joining forces with the Muslim community to stop the fraudsters who steal hundreds and thousands of pounds from pilgrims travelling to Mecca. The criminals pose as legitimate travel operators, offering 50% discount on the normal price. Last year, more than 600 Muslims reported being a victim to Hajj fraud, some losing up to £20,000 and being left to sleep on the streets of Mecca. As this year's Hajj approaches on November 14th, the City of London Police, supported by the Prevention of Fraud in Travel, is launching a campaign to counter this threat.
Basically, when people book to undertake their travelling to Mecca, quite often they'll see some very good deals that are often half price, and these are the suspicious ones. What we would urge is that anyone undertaking the travel make sure that the company they book through is ATOL registered, and try and do as much open source verification of who they are. And any transactions that you make or any negotiations you enter into, try and ensure that there's paperwork, there's an audit trail that we can go back to, and where possible, if you can make inquiries with the Saudi embassy as to make sure that the group or the organisation is registered with them. That is particularly helpful. It's a leaflet designed to help raise the profile of Hajj fraud and its existence within the Muslim community in order that we can look to reduce it and prevent it in the future.
And how much of a problem is Hajj fraud?
Well, at the moment, we believe that only 10% of Hajj fraud actually is reported to police, so it's difficult to quantify. But if we look at that, research shows that up to 25,000 people undertake the pilgrimage each year, and that the industry thinks that £36 million is spent on that. You know, that's a significant amount of money, and also the individual losses to people who save for this journey, and it's essential that we prevent this for the future.
Sikhs in the US say they are extremely dismayed by an announcement they must always expect to have their turbans inspected at airports. Previously, they had to pat down their own turban and then have their hands swabbed. But new security measures mean they will now have to remove their turbans as well as passing through the new full body scanner system. Sikh groups complain it may be against their human rights. Supporters of attempted murderer Roshana Chaudhry, who were evicted from the Old Bailey for threatening the judge, are unemployed and on benefits. Abu Salah and Abu Abdullah, which are not their real names, from East London, are both on unemployment benefit, with one also claiming disability benefit for chronic fatigue. Whilst they deny they are terrorists, they admit knowing plenty of potential jihadists. The husband of a Sunrise Radio receptionist has told the Old Bailey he never hit her and was not possessive. 32-year-old Harpreet Alok denied hitting Geeta when she was pregnant and said she wouldn't have put up with that kind of behaviour. Geeta's estranged husband also told the court how he knew 3 of the other defendants, also accused of her murder in Greenford in November of last year. Harpreet Alok and 3 others deny the 28-year-old's murder. The trial continues. And finally, student societies say that government proposed to increase student fees will price poor families out of university. Students say they will no longer be able to support themselves through university, and many families may struggle to help them. Law and medical students, for example, could finish university with fees over £70,000. And that's it from the Sunrise News team and me. Now back to the studio.
Sham marriages, bogus marriages, suspect marriages, whatever you call them, are on the increase. Sham marriages are nothing new to the Asian community and other communities seeking the quickest route to permanent residency and a better life in the UK. There are agents who arrange marriages for visas, and these shams have been so successful that sometimes entire families have been brought over. We sent Raj Mehta to take a closer look.
Marriages are meant to be about love and commitment, although marriages have now taken a turn for the West and is now a full-blown illegal trade, where people are entering into marriages for a 50-50 benefit of permanent British residency and money. The brides are often from the new EU countries such as Slovenia, Bulgaria and Romania, and grooms-to-be are Asian, and some of the brides are shockingly British citizens. They pay the brides money in exchange for marriage. When those that have married have stayed together for at least 2 years, they receive permanent residency, and then they normally divorce and are ready to marry again to, say, another immigrant. This is clearly abuse of the UK Border Agency's regulation of the marriage system. Asians, payments, marriage and divorce all go together hand in hand in sham marriages. The marriages take place based upon personal gain for both parties and has become an illegal trade. A bride or groom wants money and the person they are marrying wants permanent British residency. This has become a common trade in which Asians participate.
Generally, we could say that we have seen a rise of Pakistani citizens, as mentioned, marrying EU citizens, and they would be one of the groups, to some extent, some of the Indian marrying Portuguese or, again, EU citizens. But that's not to say that there's other nationalities as well that have increased, but we would say that would be one of the groupings.
Since last year, the number of sham marriages has gone up with a 22% increase. So why has this increase been taking place? There is a scheme which is in place which does repel sham marriages, and the scheme requires that all those that are foreigners to the UK acquire a certificate of approval before they marry or register in a civil partnership. Every foreigner is held accountable when getting married. They have to initially inform the government and then produce a certificate for marriage with government approval. This scheme is opposed by human rights activists, and the UK Border Agency say it will soon be scrapped by late 2010 or early 2011. The process of a sham marriage can often be intricate, with Asian sham marriages operating on the level of organised crime. Gangs obtain money from the immigrant and introduce them to a wife or husband of British or most likely of EU nationality. And then they are then paid in instalments before the marriage, for the marriage taking place and after the marriage. It seems that EU national women have been opting to become a wife for large sums of money, averaging around £20,000. The immigrant has to reapply for a dependent visa after the marriage, and it is given for 2 years only. The time frame in which the couple must remain married for the immigrant to be able to apply for indefinite leave to remain. The shocking part is that some of these couples don't even live together.
Sham marriages, I mean, marriage is an institution that really has been the cornerstone of our societies for thousands of years. And when it's abused in this way, that's not in the interests of immigrants already here, of the population, the Brits who've always been here, or whoever. I mean, that is just something that should not happen. And the more we can do to stop it, the better.
With these Asian sham marriages increasing daily, the public are going to turn to the government to see what they do about this. The government are going to take a tougher stance on immigration, certainly with talks of an immigration cap coming about. Although for the moment the government can do nothing about sham marriages. We wanted to know if the government treat these marriages as a crime.
A crime is a crime, so it doesn't matter who's committing it, where, what their origin is, it's a crime. But it's not, the statistics tell us, particularly an Asian-related problem. I suppose the biggest generalisation you can make is that the fake brides tend to be from Central and Eastern Europe, but that's the biggest common factor.
The EU nationals marrying these Asian immigrants for money are helping the immigrants to live within the UK permanently. This is illegal, and it has to be questioned where the loyalties of the EU and the British nationals lie. And what is the UK Border Agency going to do about this increase in sham marriages?
It's wrong, basically, isn't it? It's wrong for other people as well. Obviously it's illegal, I'm guessing, as well. And they're probably not happy anyway. They're doing it just for money, just to stay in the country. So it's not very good.
I don't think that's a good idea, really. I mean, I think if they take part in sham marriages, that means they're coming here really under an illegal, on a legal basis, really.
It seems as long as there are Asian immigrants with money for marriage, there will continue to be a trade for sham marriages. And it remains to be seen what the government does about this trade, which has been going on for many years, and having been fueled by the new EU countries' membership.